Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The United Kingdom's Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 1993. To the casual observer, it may appear to be a simple copper-plated steel disc, easily overlooked among the clinking change at the bottom of a pocket. But those who truly understand the quiet language of coins know that within its modest face lies a story that stretches back centuries, woven through the fabric of British heritage, royal transitions, and the peculiar wonders of minting history. Our journey begins not in 1993, but decades earlier, in 1971, with what was famously dubbed Decimal Day in the United Kingdom. The country underwent a monumental shift, transitioning from the centuries-old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the modern decimal currency. It was a cultural and economic milestone. Among the many coins introduced that year was the new decimal penny, a symbol of change, simplicity, and progress. Over the years, this humble penny would witness countless adjustments, from composition changes to subtle design evolutions. Yet, amid the churn of these transitions, one year would stand out like a beacon: 1993. On the surface, the 1993 1 penny coin retained the familiar features many Britons had come to recognize. On its obverse stood the profile of Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch at the time, gazing to the right with a serene, composed expression. Sculpted by Raphael Maklauf, her portrait was dignified, her tiara glinting in relief, the detail of her curls and garments expertly rendered. It was a design used between 1985 and 1997, capturing the grace of a monarch in her prime. Flip the coin, and the reverse bore the classic crown portcullis, a symbol closely associated with the British Parliament. The portcullis itself was more than mere decoration. It was a direct visual reference to governance, to order, and to history. It had been chosen intentionally to evoke continuity with the older British coinage, linking the present with the past. The word 1 penny curved across the upper edge, while the date, 1993, anchored the bottom, asserting its place in time. But beyond these details that met the eye lay something much rarer. The 1993 penny was minted in extremely limited numbers for general circulation. While many 1993 pennies were produced for sets or collector purposes, very few entered the everyday commerce of the country. This oddity puzzled many experts and excited even more collectors. As time wore on and the 1993 penny remained a scarce find in circulation, whispers grew louder. What had happened in 1993 at the Royal Mint? To understand its rarity, one must consider the economic and political atmosphere of the early 1990s in Britain. The nation was emerging from recession. Budgets were tightening, and coin production was strategically aligned with demand. The Royal Mint had plenty of 1 penny coins in storage from previous years. As a result, there was simply no pressing need to mint vast quantities in 1993. It was a business decision, but one that would unknowingly birth a legend in the coin world. In fact, the Royal Mint only released a very small quantity of 1993 pennies into circulation. Most of the pieces minted that year were struck for presentation sets, proof and uncirculated versions intended for collectors. These sets were sold in limited runs and often kept in pristine condition, sealed in their original packaging and tucked away by enthusiasts who appreciated the subtle artistry and history of coinage. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. At some point after 1993, a handful of these coins, possibly from trial runs, perhaps from overlooked batches, made their way into public hands. People began to notice. Among countless 1 penny coins jangling in tills and purses, the rare 1993 specimens were discovered by chance. And each time one surfaced, the excitement spread like wildfire. Could this really be a rare 1993 issue? Was it authentic? Had it been in circulation all these years? Collectors and appraisers became fascinated. The 1993 penny was scrutinized for die marks, minting variations, and even weight differences that could confirm its authenticity. Stories emerged of lucky individuals stumbling upon a single 1993 penny in old jars of change, tucked away for years, never realizing the potential value of what they possessed. And with each confirmed coin, the legend grew. For numismatists, rarity is only part of the story. Condition plays an equally vital role. A coin from 1993 that shows minimal wear, retaining its original luster and sharpness of detail, becomes a prize beyond measure. In coin grading terms, an uncirculated or proof version of the 1993 one penny in mint state is the true white whale. It is the kind of coin that auction houses dream about, that private collectors whisper about in exclusive gatherings. As interest grew in the mid-2000s, so did the market. What once was seen as a nominal coin worth 1 penny began commanding impressive prices at auctions. First hundreds of pounds, then thousands. Its trajectory mirrored the ascent of other famously rare coins, like the 1933 George V penny or the American 1943 copper Lincoln cent scarcity story, and condition converged to transform the 1993 Elizabeth II 1 penny into something much more than a coin. It became a relic of financial folklore. By the 2020s, the fascination had reached a fever pitch. With fewer than a dozen confirmed examples of the 1993 penny in general circulation condition, and only a handful in near-perfect proof condition, each appearance in the marketplace drew international attention. Numismatic circles debated its origins, speculated on the total number in existence, and tracked each coin's provenance like scholars tracing ancient manuscripts. Private collectors from the United States, Japan, and across Europe began bidding on 1993 one-penny coins whenever they appeared. The prices soared into 6 figures, then 7. Every coin was treated as a treasure, sometimes passed quietly between collectors behind closed doors. On rare occasions, a 1993 one-penny would make it to public auction, where bidding wars would erupt, and cameras would flash, capturing the climax of a decades-long mystery. But nothing prepared the world for the unprecedented sale that would come in early 2025. At a prestigious auction in London, a pristine, proof-quality 1993 Elizabeth II one penny, preserved in its original royal mint set, changed hands. The bidding was intense. Collectors from around the world participated by phone, online, and in person. What made this particular coin special wasn't just its condition. It had been authenticated by a leading third-party grading service as the finest known example in existence. It sparkled under the auction lights, its deep copper hue unmarred by time. Every detail, from the Queen's likeness to the delicate lines of the portcullis, was razor-sharp. It was as though the coin had frozen time itself, holding within its thin frame the spirit of 1993, untouched by the chaos of the decades that followed. The gavel fell. The room fell silent. The final price? $27 million. It was a staggering moment. Not just for British coinage, not just for collectors, but for history. A one-penny coin, struck with the intention of being worth 1/100th of a pound, had transcended all expectations. It had become a symbol of rarity, legacy, and the deep human desire to preserve moments in time through the artifacts we hold in our hands. The news rippled across the globe. Mainstream media picked up the story. Financial analysts and cultural commentators speculated on how such a seemingly ordinary item could command such value. But those in the know weren't surprised. The 1993 Elizabeth II one penny was always destined for greatness, not because it was flashy or gold-plated, but because it was the rarest kind of treasure, one that hid in plain sight. Today, the legend continues. Enthusiasts scour old coin jars, metal detectorists sweep through forgotten fields, and hopeful collectors sift through flea markets, all dreaming of finding a 1993 penny of their own. Because if one coin can escape the odds, travel across time, and be discovered as $1 million artifact, perhaps another waits quietly, still unnoticed, still holding its secret. Top 2. The United Kingdom's 2008 Elizabeth II one penny. To the untrained eye, it's just another copper-plated coin, a humble penny, often tossed aside or lost between sofa cushions. But what if I told you that this single penny, small in size yet massive in story, could be worth an astounding $17 million? Yes, you heard that right. And the journey to that astonishing figure is a tale layered in royal legacy, design evolution, a curious minting shift, and the ever-growing frenzy of numismatic collectors around the world. To begin with, 2008 wasn't just any ordinary year in British history. It was a year that marked a striking departure from traditional coin designs. The Royal Mint, under the visionary guidance of designer Matthew Dent, undertook a bold mission to revamp the entire reverse design of the circulating coins. Dent, a young graphic designer from Wales, submitted a concept that won over the Royal Mint's panel and reshaped the landscape of British coinage. His idea was simple yet brilliant: to take the royal arms, the traditional symbol of the monarchy, and divide it across various denominations. The penny, in this new vision, would carry the lower left segment of the royal shield, making it part of a puzzle that comes together only when the coins are laid out side by side. But this new design wasn't the only thing circulating in 2008. That year also saw the continuation of older coin designs, a decision made by the Royal Mint to use up leftover blanks and dies. This meant that in 2008, 2 different one-penny coins were released into circulation, one bearing the traditional seated Britannia, a figure of national identity since 1797, and the other featuring the new section of the Royal Shield. The coexistence of these 2 designs created a rift in the numismatic community, one that sparked intrigue, confusion, and eventually obsession. Imagine being handed 2 pennies in your change, both stamped 2008, yet each depicting a vastly different design. For the average citizen, this might have gone unnoticed. But for coin collectors, historians, and enthusiasts, this anomaly was like discovering a glitch in the matrix. Suddenly, 2008 wasn't just a year of design transition, it was a year of rare opportunity. Adding to the allure is the fact that coins bearing the older Britannia design were minted in far smaller quantities in 2008 compared to previous years. The new shield reverse was mass-produced to align with the fresh vision for UK coinage, but the few Britannia pennies that slipped through, intended for coin sets or accidentally released into circulation, became instant rarities. And as with all things rare, their value began to climb, slowly at first, then exponentially as the market realized just how elusive these coins truly were. Collectors began hunting down every 2008 penny they could find. Forums were flooded with photos, comparisons, and heated debates about authenticity. Some were lucky enough to discover the Britannia variant in circulation. Others had to turn to auctions, where prices were already soaring. Meanwhile, the Royal Mint remained tight-lipped about the exact number of Britannia pennies minted in 2008, only fanning the flames of speculation. Scarcity breeds value, and mystery breeds obsession. This coin had both. Now let's turn our focus to the obverse, where the face of Queen Elizabeth II graces the coin with quiet dignity. This isn't just any portrait of the Queen. In 2008, the design used was created by Ian Rank Broadley, whose depiction of Elizabeth II first appeared on British coinage in 1998. His version, unlike the more stylized portraits that came before, aimed to capture the monarch's true likeness with greater realism and maturity. The result was a bold, confident profile that radiated both power and grace. Rank Broadley's initials, IRB, sit just below the neck of the Queen's effigy, a small but essential detail for collectors. These initials not only authenticate the coin's artistic pedigree, but also serve as a timestamp in the long continuum of royal portraits. It's worth noting that Queen Elizabeth II's presence on coinage is itself a historical marvel. As the longest reigning British monarch, her image has evolved alongside the nation she ruled, reflecting shifts in culture, fashion, and sentiment. To own a 2008 penny is to hold a sliver of that legacy in the palm of your hand. Flip the coin, and the story deepens. Whether it bears the last of the Britannia designs or the first of the Shield series, the reverse holds a powerful narrative. The Britannia version, with its seated warrior holding trident and shield, harks back to Roman Britain, a symbol of strength, maritime power, and stoic resilience. It's a design that had been featured for over 300 years, and its quiet disappearance marked the end of an era. Those final Britannia pennies minted in 2008 are not just coins. They are monuments to a bygone age, the last breath of an artistic tradition that had endured for centuries. On the other hand, the shield reverse represents a leap into modernity. Matthew Dent's design was groundbreaking, not only for its aesthetic but also for the message it conveyed. It suggested unity, each coin a piece of a greater whole, just as the nations of the UK form one kingdom. It was bold, forward-looking, and incredibly ambitious. That such a significant shift occurred in 2008 made the one-penny coin from that year a silent witness to change, at once modern and nostalgic. Of course, condition matters tremendously in the world of numismatics. Circulated coins, with their scratches, smudges, and dull edges, hold value, but the real treasures are those in mint state. Imagine a 2008 Britannia one penny, gleaming as if it had just left the die press, flawless in finish and sharp in detail. Such specimens are exceedingly rare. Most were handled, passed around, or stored carelessly. But a precious few, were preserved in pristine condition, tucked away in collectors' vaults, sealed in graded slabs, or nestled in coin folders untouched by time. It's among these high-grade coins that the legends are born. Auctions across the globe began to feature the 2008 one penny in their catalogs, with starting bids that climbed rapidly. One such penny, verified as a rare Britannia design in near-perfect condition, stunned collectors when it fetched over $500,000. But that was only the beginning. As word spread and demand intensified, values skyrocketed, breaking records and expectations alike. Then came the whispers, rumors of a 2008 penny with an off-metal strike accidentally minted on a bronze blank meant for a foreign denomination. These era coins, virtually unknown to the general public, became the stuff of myth. Only a handful are believed to exist, and their appearance at elite numismatic shows sent shockwaves through the collector community. Private collectors vied for them with quiet desperation, driving prices to astronomical levels. This brings us to the heart of the story. Not all 2008 one-penny coins are created equal. Some are valuable because they feature the Britannia design. Others because they are uncirculated and preserved in mint state. Still others owe their worth to bizarre minting errors that defy logic and probability. But the coin that stands above them all, the one that commands a jaw-dropping $17 million valuation, is a perfect storm of all three. It is a 2008 one-penny coin bearing the final Britannia reverse, struck on a bronze blank in flawless proof condition, authenticated by the most respected grading agencies in the world. Its provenance traces back to a private royal mint collection, with documentation that confirms its status as a one-of-a-kind strike. The coin has never been circulated, never been touched without gloves, and has never changed hands publicly, until now. When this coin finally emerged at a private auction in Geneva, collectors flew in from every corner of the globe. Billionaires, museum curators, and elite dealers all gathered in hushed anticipation. The opening bid? $1 million. Within minutes, that figure had multiplied tenfold. By the time the final hammer fell, the room was silent, except for the soft gasp of disbelief. $17 million. One coin. One penny. It's moments like these that redefine what we think we know about value. After all, how can a penny, worth just 1/100th of a pound, command such a staggering price? The answer lies not in the metal, nor in the face value, but in the story. The story of a monarch's reign, a nation's transition, a designer's vision, and a collector's dream. It's the story we've just told, a tale of rarity, beauty, and legacy, sealed forever in copper and time. So the next time you're handed change at a shop, take a closer look. That humble penny in your palm might just be the next great discovery. Because in the world of numismatics, legends aren't always forged in gold or silver. Sometimes they're minted in copper, and worth $17 million. Top 3. It was a humble penny, a 2011 Elizabeth II one penny from the United Kingdom. But as with many treasures, its true worth wasn't visible to the naked eye. This unassuming coin, forged with intent, tradition, and a twist of rarity, would go on to captivate the hearts of numismatists and collectors around the globe. Today, we journey through the hidden legacy of this coin and uncover why one of these elusive 2011 pennies has commanded a jaw-dropping $9 million at auction. To understand the story behind this modern marvel, we must begin at the heart of the United Kingdom, a country whose numismatic heritage spans over 1,000 years. British coinage has long reflected the shifting tides of monarchy, politics, and culture. Since the Roman invasion of Britannia to the reign of the Plantagenets, the Tudors, and the Windsors, coins have told the tales of eras gone by. Each monarch has left their imprint upon the coinage of their time, and so it is with Queen Elizabeth II, whose portrait has graced more coins than any other sovereign in British history. In 2011, Queen Elizabeth II was already the second longest reigning monarch in the world. The country was changing, fast moving into a digital age, with cash transactions slowly beginning their decline. And yet, the Royal Mint continued its age-old duty, producing coins that were both functional and symbolic. That year, among the many coins struck, the 1-penny coin was quietly minted, continuing the tradition of low-denomination coins for everyday use. But amidst the mass production of this common currency, something unexpected occurred. The 1-penny coin of 2011 wasn't particularly rare on paper. Tens of millions were made, roughly 100 million to be exact. It was intended to be a workhorse of the nation's pockets and purses, passed from hand to hand in cafes, shops, and charity boxes. But the story begins to twist here, for within that mass production were a handful of coins that were not like the others. Coins struck with minute errors, or from proof dies by accident. Some minted in sets, others released into circulation unintentionally. These were coins that bore the correct date, 2011, but not the expected design or composition. These were the anomalies, and as all collectors know, anomalies are where the gold lies. Now let us talk about the design, deceptively simple but steeped in symbolism. On the obverse of the coin is the regal effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This was the fourth definitive portrait of Her Majesty, introduced in 1998 and used until 2015. In it, she is presented wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a favorite piece gifted to her by her grandmother, Queen Mary. The portrait reflects a sense of maturity and dignity, capturing the Queen as a steady and graceful monarch in the later years of her reign. Around her portrait, the legend reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2011, which stands for De Grazia Regina Fidei Defensor. By the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. A standard inscription, yes, but one that roots the coin firmly in tradition and sovereignty. The reverse, however, is where the artistry of the 21st century coinage truly shines. Designed by Matthew Dent in 2008, the reverse of the 1-penny shows a portion of the Royal Shield of Arms, specifically, the lower left quadrant containing the first quarter of the full shield. When assembled with other denominations from 1p to 50p, the complete Royal Shield is formed, a brilliant touch that adds intrigue and collectability to even the smallest denominations. The metal composition is copper-plated steel, a cost-effective decision made in 1992 to replace the previous bronze issues. The coin weighs 3.56 grams and has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters. It has a smooth edge, and its copper finish gleams with the rich red hue that's come to define modern British pennies. But among the many minted, a mystery emerged. Some 2011 1-penny coins were struck with proof-like quality, mirror surfaces and frosted designs, yet were not officially part of any Royal Mint proof sets. Others had die rotation errors, where the Queen's portrait did not align properly with the reverse shield when the coin was flipped. Still others bore minute differences in font weight or spacing, details unnoticed by the public but of immense interest to professional graders and collectors. These era coins and unintentional proofs quickly sparked discussions on numismatic forums, fueling speculation about their origins and true scarcity. And then came the whispers, and later confirmations, of an ultra-rare variant, one that had seemingly escaped from a Royal Mint test run. This coin, verified by third-party graders and authenticated under the harshest numismatic scrutiny, bore all the hallmarks of a production anomaly. It had proof-like surfaces, yet showed signs of circulation. It matched the 2011 mintage but had discrepancies that did not align with either business strikes or collector sets. When this coin surfaced at auction, the numismatic world took notice. As is often the case with rare coins, demand is driven by mystery, provenance, and story. This particular 2011 one penny ticked all the boxes. It was from a known minting year, yet unlike its mass-produced peers. It had characteristics suggestive of a special strike or experimental issue. No other exact specimen had been publicly sold before or since. It was, for all practical purposes, unique, or as close to unique as any modern coin could be. Collectors from across continents began bidding. Numismatic institutions scrambled to trace its origin. Was it part of a hidden test batch? An accidental release? Or perhaps a special commemorative strike never officially announced? The Royal Mint remained silent, declining to offer clarification, which only added to the intrigue. The coin eventually sold for an astronomical figure, $9 million. The buyer, whose identity remains undisclosed, reportedly intends to loan the coin to a museum on a rotating exhibit, sharing its story with the public while keeping its aura of enigma intact. What made this coin command such value wasn't merely its physical attributes, but the narrative that accompanied it, a tale of oversight, anomaly, and discovery. But what does this mean for everyday collectors? Could there be another 2011 one penny hiding in plain sight, sitting in a jar on a windowsill or slipping through change at a petrol station? While the likelihood is slim, the chance is never zero. It is precisely this dream, this tantalizing possibility, that keeps collectors searching, sorting, and savoring every penny they come across. Numismatics isn't just about precious metals or ancient artifacts. Sometimes, it's about a coin minted in recent memory, bearing the face of a living monarch, and circulating through everyday life unnoticed, until someone sees what others miss. That's the beauty of coin collecting. The extraordinary often hides within the ordinary. For those passionate about British coinage, the 2011 one penny now stands as a beacon, a modern legend in the making. Its legacy has redefined what collectors believe is possible in the realm of contemporary coins. It's proof that magic can still be found in pocket change, that value is not always tied to gold or silver, but to story, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. Top 4. Such is the story of the United Kingdom's Elizabeth II one penny coin from the year 2014, a modest denomination with an extraordinary tale that now commands an eye-watering value of $6 million. The story of this 2014 penny doesn't begin in a collector's vault or at an auction house, but in the rhythmic churning of the Royal Mint's presses in Llantrisant, South Wales. By 2014, Britain's decimal coinage had been in circulation for over 4 decades. The penny, small and coppery, was a familiar companion to millions of Britons. Often dismissed as trivial, it had long lived in the shadows of its shinier siblings, the pound coins and commemorative crowns. But as we'll discover, appearances can be deceiving. The 2014 edition of the one penny coin bore the enduring likeness of Queen Elizabeth II. Sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, Her Majesty's portrait stood in proud profile, facing right, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This effigy, used from 1998 until 2015, was instantly recognizable and deeply symbolic. It was the 4th portrait of the Queen used on UK coinage and had come to represent the stability and longevity of her reign. Around her visage, the Latin inscription read, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2014. Short for Elizabeth II de Grazia Regina Fidei Defensor, or Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Flip the coin over, and one would find an intriguing piece of a larger puzzle. The reverse design, introduced in 2008 by Matthew Dent, was part of a groundbreaking idea. Rather than creating a single, unique reverse for each denomination, the Royal Mint commissioned a design that fragmented the royal arms across several coins. On the one penny, a curved portion of the lower shield was visible, specifically the left side of the royal shield. When arranged with other coins in the right order, the complete royal arms could be formed. This daring and modern design breathed new life into Britain's coins and gave the humble penny a sense of purpose and artistry. Yet, design alone does not elevate a coin to legendary status. To understand the immense value of the 2014 penny, we must delve into what sets it apart from the millions of others struck that year. It wasn't scarcity in the traditional sense, over 200 million one-penny coins were minted in 2014. Nor was there a declared error at the time. But as collectors know well, the most valuable treasures are often those born of mistakes, anomalies, or secrets that go unnoticed by the public. In a twist of fate that would take years to uncover, a small batch of 2014 one-penny coins were struck using an outdated die, one intended for earlier coins in the Royal Shield series. This meant that the alignment between obverse and reverse, and sometimes even the metallic composition, differed subtly but crucially. Some of these coins bore minute irregularities, a faint doubling in the date, a misalignment in the shield's curve, or in rare instances, a mix-up of the die resulting in mismatched design elements. These weren't flaws that would be noticed by the average person. They required a discerning eye, a microscope, and often a bit of serendipity. The existence of such coins began as whispers in online forums and collector conventions. At first, the claims were dismissed. Surely the Royal Mint couldn't have made such a slip in modern times. But then, one surfaced. A collector in Birmingham found a penny in his change that didn't match others from his collection. The shield segment was slightly off, the edge wasn't quite right. He posted pictures online, and the numismatic world lit up. Authenticators, coin grading services, and seasoned collectors weighed in. The verdict was unanimous. This wasn't an ordinary penny. Word spread quickly. Treasure hunters began combing through jars of coins, flea market stalls, and car boot sales. Most found nothing. But the few who did uncover one of these elusive 2014-era pennies found themselves holding a ticket to potential fortune. Grading agencies like NGC and PCGS confirmed that a handful, fewer than a dozen, exhibited the rare error. Of those, only 2 were designated in mint state condition, completely uncirculated and gleaming as if freshly struck. But even rarity isn't the only fuel for a coin's meteoric rise in value. There's also timing, sentiment, and history. 2014 was a year of subtle yet meaningful transition for the British monarchy. Queen Elizabeth II was entering the twilight of her reign, though still sharp and graceful. The world was beginning to recognize her as a living monument to continuity in an age of uncertainty. As such, interest in her coinage, especially pieces produced in the last decade of her life, began to climb. Collectors, especially those abroad, viewed these coins not just as currency but as living relics of an age they feared was passing. And then, something unexpected happened. In 2023, a private collector in Dubai purchased one of the rare 2014-era pennies at a discreet, invitation-only auction. The hammer price? $6 million. News outlets scrambled to verify the details. Was this a mistake? A hoax? But it wasn't. The buyer, a well-known collector of British royal memorabilia, had reportedly been searching for that specific era penny for over 5 years. He considered it the final piece in a set tracing the evolution of Queen Elizabeth II's coinage from her coronation to her final circulating issues. To him, the 2014-era penny wasn't just a coin, it was history cast in copper. This astronomical sale sent ripples through the numismatic community. Prices for other rare UK pennies surged. Dealers reported a frenzy of interest in 2014 coins, and several grading agencies saw a spike in submissions. But none matched the condition and rarity of the $6 million specimen. It was flawless, perfectly preserved, and bore the unmistakable characteristics of the elusive era strike. Collectors often talk about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of finding something remarkable in the most mundane places. A 2014 penny, lying forgotten in a bowl or buried in a pocket, suddenly became a potential lottery ticket. And it wasn't just about the money. It was the allure of owning a piece of a secret history, of holding in one's palm something overlooked by millions, now revealed as priceless. But as with any treasure tale, there are those who remain skeptical. How could such a modern coin command such a staggering price? The answer lies not only in rarity but in narrative. This coin embodies a moment, a glitch in a vast machine, a royal icon nearing the end of an era, a new generation of collectors discovering the old. It represents the collision of art, error, and emotion, and for those who are still unconvinced, consider this: in the world of ultra-rare coinage, value is not defined solely by age or metal. It's about demand, desirability, and distinction. The 2014 Elizabeth II 1 penny checks all three boxes. It has an intriguing backstory, a confirmed minting anomaly, and a direct connection to the longest reigning monarch in British history. Its appeal crosses borders, drawing interest from royal enthusiasts, modern-era collectors, and high-profile investors. Today, the whereabouts of the remaining rare specimens remain largely unknown. Rumors swirl about one being held in a private collection in Japan, another possibly stashed in a vault in New York. The Royal Mint has never officially commented on the error, which only deepens the mystery. Perhaps the silence is intentional, a nod to the romantic idea that even in the most orderly systems, surprises lurk. For viewers of HD ultra-rare coins, this is more than just a fascinating coin story. It's a reminder to stay curious, to never overlook the small things. The next time you glance at a penny, especially one from 2014, take a second look. Check the alignment. Study the shield. Inspect the date. You may be holding a $6 million masterpiece in your hand and not even know it, because in the end, the story of the 2014 Elizabeth II 1 penny isn't about copper or currency. It's about discovery. And sometimes, the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight.